So we're talking about intellectual property rights. Uh, how does AI marry blockchain? So the advantages are plenty. It's seamless. It empowers the creators to do what they have to creatively without having to look behind all the time and try and figure out whether their content is getting stolen or their IPs are getting stolen or being copied. Yeah, I think it's brilliant and it empowers the content creators. It also helps monetize their content to a great extent. I think it's a seamless kind of a process and gives a lot of flexibility for content creators of this new age. Sharad?
Yeah. So I'll add on with very basic explanation, and I mean for most of the people who wouldn't know how currently the content or the IPs, so to say, are being registered, may it be title registrations or may it be your content, that is scripts or stories or any sort of write-up that is registered, right? So as we may be aware, there is Association Screenwriters Association. Screenwriter Association, we have different for the state bodies as well as we have for different countries as well. Currently, the processes are still manual. Manual, when I say every screenwriter association is a self-regulated private body. These are not centralized government bodies, right? So what it does is you are registering on the screenwriter association any content that you have written, but do you really think your content is safe or it's unique, right? Because if two people having the same idea or the same content registers in two separate associations, both are getting registered and you are getting a registered number. Similarly, let's say for example, language might be different. Now earlier, because your English films, Hollywood films, and your Indian films were very distinct, and not all the films were getting released, so there was not much of a problem. Now with every film releasing in multiple languages, if the same content, let's say, if the same thriller, we also started making sci-fis. If the same content is made in English and in Hindi, right? Who is the first owner, right? And they are released in all the languages. So with the technology now, with blockchain, what it can enable, in fact, me, Rajbhai had been discussing about it and working on certain ideas. With blockchain, it is very much possible now that consolidation of registration of all the bodies globally is possible. It's still not done, it's in the process, but yes, it is possible. That way it can save duplication, number one. It can give the uniqueness for your global registration as well. In fact, even in case of titles, today we register titles in trademarks, right? And as well as the film titles are being registered in the individual producer's body, which every producer's body at the end of the month they exchange which titles have been received, and then after a month you get to know whether the title is registered or not. Right. And at the same point of time, if I have registered a title in producer's body, but if somebody else have registered in trademark, legally trademark has a higher value than your individual association. So that's where also there is a conflict. So such are the cases which can be solved over the blockchain, over the platform by being a universal registration forum.
So I want to touch upon another point, which is quite interesting from the content creators perspective, where production houses can also come in and play a very important role. There is a platform called blockchain.com. It's the first and only app in the blockchain ecosystem, basically. But it's predominantly a cryptocurrency, app. How about if we have curated shows and curated content, which then can be, seamlessly viewed on this platform, on the app. You can just download the app on your phone, and production houses like SP Cinecorp and Rock Films get together, maybe 100, content creators from across India, and help them curate their shows and show them a path, to put that content on this platform. So what happens is, from a monetization point of view, yeah, since it's a crypto platform, the crypto currency also seamlessly acts seamlessly to go from from one content creator to another content creator. So that's another area that can be path breaking. Uh, Importantly, it is actually the production houses that will have to make the move because there isn't much, kind of awareness in this scenario. Content creators are pretty much running around like headless chickens. All they think of is YouTube, Instagram. There's a world beyond YouTube and Instagram. Both the places are cluttered. Yeah, there is relevance for both the platforms. I'm not running down both the platforms, but there's a world beyond that. Web3 is here. It's already here. It's not for the future. It's already here. So I feel if production companies like Sharad's and mine can empower these content creators and create an ecosystem for them, which can help them grow from one kind of content to another. And these can cut across various kinds of genres. Like JP mentioned, he touched upon the fact that there are blockchain platforms which also streamline revenues and IPs for music. So music is again a huge area as far as India is concerned. You look at the kind of numbers T Series YouTube platform does. How about creating an alternate ecosystem and not depending on your quintessential so-called music platforms, which basically hold the music industry with the gun on their head. So these are areas where we can give wings to our content creators, to our music composers, and so on and so forth, singers and so on and so forth. What's your take on that, Sharad?
So, exactly correct. Adding further to that, like a lot of platforms earlier were only the acquisition models. Now, a lot of platforms for a lot of content, they're also working on the revenue sharing model. Now, in the revenue sharing model, it's pay per click. But how do you actually get the data of it? And how do you verify the data of it? It is what the platform gives you, right? Which data can very easily be altered and monitored, right? Because each platform keeps saying that they are bleeding money, right? If they are bleeding so much of money, and then how are they consuming so much of? They still keep consuming so much of content, and they still keep expanding. So somewhere there is a leakage, right? So there are obviously, like we saw certain examples in the presentation that JP gave, the various kind of the platforms which are utilized for monetizations, for regularizing the monetizations. Again, adding further, the globalization of the platforms is also needed, because even currently today, the AI-enabled platforms that are there are still specific to certain regions. Unfortunately, like obviously, as we have always seen that trend, now it's changing slowly, where we are now seeing startups initiating from India. Otherwise, we always followed the West. It starts from there, then it expands here. While the most complexities are here. So if you are able to solve the Indian ecosystem problem, then I'm sure you are able to solve the entire world's ecosystem problem, right? So I think the platforms that are being created, and people who are initiating creating the platform, if they do it with a global perspective, now with blockchain and technology, it is possible, right? But it needs that global perspective in order to solve these issues of piracy in terms of the distribution of revenues. Most important in distribution of revenues, when we talk about currently the major topic that's always comes in the agreement with writers and with content creators is about the royalty distribution. People keep fighting over royalty clauses, right, for days and days on certain agreements. But I fail to understand how are they even claiming on the royalties, right? Because you keep on getting the ledgers from IPRS of certain royalties that you are eligible to earn, or certain amounts that you are eligible to earn, but nobody knows how to even claim for it. Nine out of 10 people don't even know how to claim for their royalties, or how to even encash the ledger that they get. So I think with the technology, we should be able to solve those kind of problems as well, where there are royalty societies. But how can it be through smart contracts that can be an automated distribution process, right? Which is where the true win would be.
Absolutely, I think that's the way forward. It also will help production companies also monetize their content, because, like you touched upon the point earlier, that when you're getting into a rev share properly with the OTT platform, how do you verify those numbers? It's their word against our word at the end of the day, and this kind of thing is rampant. Fudging of numbers and all kinds of things. So let's also touch upon another area, which is the social media, area, where a lot of times you get these messages on Facebook, which says that this is the last day. If you don't copy paste this, Facebook and Meta will take charge of all your content and your photographs and all of that, and etc. 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 The fact of the matter is they've already taken it over. That's a whole lot of humbug. They've already taken it over. And then you have a lot of innocent people, or should I call them dumb, reposting them, copying, pasting them, and reposting them, and so on and so forth. So how do you tackle that? And a lot of content creators are in that zone where on Facebook they put out their material, whether they are stand-up comedians or whether they are singers, or whether they are music composers. So how do they get their content protected? Social media is another area where you can draw a lot of traction. Because it's basically a community. So content creator needs to build the community to be able to reach his or her content or wares out to various people. The end consumer at the end of the day. So how do you do that? So blockchain has that solution. There are a number of a bunch of such social media platforms. There's a platform called Minds, which is doing really some great stuff. It's also attached to tokens, which is again very interesting, because when a content creator creates a content and puts it on Minds, he or she can gain some coins, earn some coins, tokens. Those tokens can also be in cash later on as real time currency. So that is the brilliance of Minds as a platform. So if we get all these elements, if we bring awareness, see, at the end of the day it's all about awareness. If we are able to bring this awareness to our ecosystem, to the Indian ecosystem, you'll have a lot more empowered content creators wanting to make more and more content. And as a production company, or as production companies, our job would be essentially to give these content creators the platform. The curation and the scripting and everything would at the end remain with the content creators. And IPs obviously would rest with the content creators. Of course, the production houses would extract the pound of flesh for imparting the knowledge and the effort. But this is an interesting mix, music, blockchain, music on blockchain, social media on blockchain, empowering content creators. So I think it's a great period for content creators. I might turn a content creator from a producer. I'm inspired. I'm absolutely inspired. Sharad, what do you think about this?
Sure. I'll add a few more examples of the kind of cases that happen, the kind of issues that happens in terms of the ownership of the rights and in terms of the right distribution. So lately it's less, but we have seen many cases wherein the same IP has been written off and signed off with multiple people, right? And only unless and until you monetize it and there are multiple claims to it on the revenue, you don't even come to know who actually is the owner of the IP, right? One of the biggest case that has happened was in the industry with some of the biggest production houses, including a T-Series. There was a big case of IPs being assigned by the producer to multiple people, right? The same IP, the same rights, and then we only realize it when we actually sold the rights, right? So I think with utilization of the blockchain, those are the kind of the areas we can protect, right? Where you are able to verify who the actual owner is. And secondly, there has always been a problem where it's revenue distribution, right? In terms of its transparency. So through smart contracts, when it's automated, right, then the distribution, like for an escrow account system, but not everybody really follows it. But in terms of and obviously in each content that you produce, whether it's web series, whether it's films, there are multiple IP holders, including sometimes the writers, sometimes directors, also producers, and the studio owners and platforms. So through smart contracts, you'll be able to design that mechanism of a standard sharing protocols, right, which would avoid this kind of conflicts. And unfortunately, in such cases, your IPs get blocked for years and years, and then it's already stale by the time it comes out, right? Like recently, there's a film that's getting released after 14 years. I guess Naam,
Yeah,
suppose, right?
absolutely.
After 14 years, it's getting released for some other issues.
Rumta has taken it. Rumta Cinema is known as
Right,
Rumta Cinema.
right.
Yeah. Touching other aspects, something very interesting which is happening quietly, and the Indian ecosystem doesn't seem to know about it. Although there's a huge consumption for it, is the short video content. Your snackable content, which is the 2 minute content, which is basically the legacy left behind by TikTok. Okay. So of course there are some very interesting Indian companies. There's a company called Nojoto, uh, who's killing it. They've got a creators hub. They've got close to 10,000 creators on board, and it's a Gurgaon-based company run by two very smart young entrepreneurs. They've got 10 million subscribers. Uh, Now, as far as the quality of the content is concerned, now you don't expect that that kind of finesse when you have so many content creators. So all of it can't be judged. Uh, so while I'm talking about these 2 minute snackable short video content, uh, there's some very interesting work that is being done. I'd like to single out somebody a platform called Fan TV. So Fan TV is basically based out of Dubai, and it's a Web3 solutions company, and they're looking to curate uh, these snackable content. So there's something very interesting that we at Rock Films are doing in that space, which is a first of its kind. Is we're looking at doing 100 minute, and JP is aware of it. We're doing 100 minute content uh, stretched across 50 episodes of 2 minutes each. So it's 2 minutes per episode, 50 episodes equal to 100 minute content. We're doing it in Arabic. So that's the twist in the entire thing. So it's not about the scale in terms of how you're mounting it, who's there in it. It's all about how smartly are you curating that content as far as the script is concerned. And this is on blockchain. This is a Web3 company. So again, what we both touched upon as far as intellectual properties are concerned, smart contracts are concerned, it all kicks in automatically. So that's another huge area. And the kind of consumption of short video content that is there in India annually is staggering. It stands today at about 600 million. 600 million youngsters, Gen X, kids are watching and consuming that content because Gen X don't have the patience to look at it for long form content. So that's another area which can drive some crazy traffic as far as I'm concerned in the blockchain zone. It can also revolutionize it because whoever does it first is the first mover in the market. Obviously there are going to be a lot of people who could be chasing you at the end of the day. But by then, the person who does it first will be well ahead of the curve. So that's another area, and I think companies like us, who are also doing the large format show feature films, should also look at this. Because it is a huge area. You can build this into something really which can be a milestone. Sharad, do you have any thoughts on this?
I think what you're making, I completely align with it. And yeah, I think it's a vast area to explore, and we're still at the very start point,
Right.
right? I think it's a lot of people are exploring, and but it's progressing at a very good speed.
Right.
So I do see from last year, in fact, when we hosted a startup event last year, right? From last year to now, I, there are huge amount of other startups and other progress that has happened. So I think in no time we will see more such platforms coming up, and start seeing the solutions coming up. And adaptation has also started increasing. In fact, from the industry perspective, I think from the producers and from makers, who were very rigid in terms of adopting to new changes, right? From that to now, people are just accepting that okay, they need to grow and learn and change. So that itself is a good start. I feel that.
Right, absolutely. So there's another very interesting point that I want to touch upon, and that's something that we're working very hard to build on. Now, in the Web3 world, uh, like surrogate advertising, Web3 companies are not allowed to advertise. So you will seldom see any ads. You won't see any hoardings, you won't see any commercials, etc., etc., etc. So how do they promote themselves? So they do these, events, meetups, which most of the times often don't are not effective because they don't send out the brand message. Everybody comes in, they have a, chit chat, gala time, they drink, they eat, and they go home, and it does nothing for the brand. So the idea was, and we suggested this to a couple of Web3 companies, and they were very gung ho about it because I did do something like that. So we've just produced a 4-part docu-series for Netflix International, basically about cryptocurrency. So what are the pitfalls and the positives of cryptocurrency? And we had it, like we shot this across Bangalore, Dubai, Delhi, and various other places. And it's yet to be released. We should be seeing the daylight sometime next year in the first quarter. So what we saw is that there was a promise because everybody was there in that docu series, right? From the Ethereum co-founder, to the Bitcoin co-founder, to a whole bunch of people, Ripple co-founder. Everybody was there. So actually, that was my first tryst with the Web3 world. I had no clue. I was a Web3, Web2 guy, and I went in for this meetup with Ajit, for which Ajit Kurana called me for, and he's known as the big daddy of the cryptocurrency and the Web3 world. And I saw there were 37 people in that meetup, and I was the 30th guy. And I was the only non Web3 person over there. So I was like a fish out of water. I had no clue what they were talking about. There was a 20-year-old kid who had invested in 30 bitcoins. And I was sitting right next to him, and I was really, really, really embarrassed that his bank account was probably more than mine at that point of time. But the awareness happened, etc., etc. And this particular for our docu series that I did gave me the impetus. Is how about taking the idea to singular Web3 companies. Like, for example, you go to a Binance and you tell them, let me tell your story. Now, Binance has a very interesting story in terms of how they started and how they got, blacklisted in various countries, including India. The India story is incredible, absolutely incredible. What happened with Binance in India, and now they are back. I mean, they were deregulated, now they're back. And they're back to the bank. So you go to Binance and they have a crazy graph in terms of globally the way they were banned in so many countries, so many countries accepted them, etc., etc. So it became very, very. It's an amazing story, to tell. So how about going to Binance and saying that, hey, I'll do a 4-part, 5-part docu series which talks about your story, and it absolutely falls in that zone where you can use it to advertise what Binance as a brand is all about. So this is something else that we're trying to build, and again, you put it out on the blockchain. So it again, what we both touched upon is your IPs are absolutely secure. Your smart contracts come into play, and it's original content. So this is something which also is another interesting aspect of blockchain and Web3 that can be married brilliantly. So that's my 2 bit on that. Sharath, do you have anything to put in on this?
No, I think we've touched upon all the topics, and maybe if anyone has any point to ask or share, rather, this is more of a sharing session.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I think I'll leave to the audience if anyone has
any questions,
or something to share.
We are in trouble.
Yeah.
Yes.
So a long background in blockchain. I've been in from 2016. So I'm part of the original Canadian Blockchain Alliance.
Right.
So I know the goods and the bads. But today we are here for a very specific purpose, its role in the media entertainment industry. So frankly, due respect to all of you, I'm confused. What you were saying, it looked like I was in a Milky Way and I could see stars and clouds moving across me. I couldn't get what we are trying to do. So the four questions that I would request you to answer or ask us, all of us, who's your customer? If I don't know, like I found that everybody is a customer, everything we are doing, that cannot be, that cannot be our objective to take us to next level. If it's Goa, Goa has to be very focused. It cannot be everywhere. We are small. GOA is a very big name in the world. But by way of the weight, it's very light. If we have to do it, we got to be very, very focused. So I found one light from who's my customer. I could hear that from you. And then second is people here are looking for where can I go from here. So I could hear what the industry looks like. Like I am going to share some stats. I can share with anybody they want. So I'm a researcher. And I have time. So I have PwC, Boston Consulting Group. I have Nielsen data in my sheet here. But all of that let's aside. My problem is AI and blockchain is not for this industry. And I will give you, it's a paradox. Frankly, it's a paradox. So you guys are content creators. I've done my little role in this industry. I'm one of the exec producers of one of the films called Hanuman, the animation film. So I know when we took JJ School of Art students, we got Sahara, we got Concept Pictures, and how the film was made. I know the cycle, and you know the cycle, the pain points. If you don't have intermediaries, a film can never be made. It's all good to say AI can do it and blockchain can throw out intermediaries. The fact and the reality is it has not happened anywhere in the world. And India, it cannot happen for say, decades to come. Because we depend on every light boy ko leke aao, char aadmi ko leke aao, we cannot take care. So one of the things is what I have taken notes are really three parts. I'll just leave it with you to answer. If you don't manage to wear glasses.
Most of those questions should be directed to me.
No, but they are the content makers and we are the content listeners. So I don't think a IT company can answer that. It has to be somebody from the industry who's trying to tell the industry guys what can we do, right? It has to come from that angle. And technology as enablers. I'm a technologist. I'm an enabler. I'm not the driver. So the question for you guys is, because of the subject, trust in technology versus trust in content. The way I heard it was you are trusting in the content, but trusting on the technology.
But don't you think that's what it should be?
It should be.
Two-way street.
I'm asking, is it?
Why not?
See, today, so for example, blockchain gives you, what is blockchain? Gives you transparency, gives you trust, gives you speed. There are three elements that a blockchain does. What does AI do? AI gives you options. AI gives you the AI gives you more opportunities to find new ideas. AI gives you a possibility of speed, but what it doesn't do is authenticity. So if you put in a blockchain, I did something and he does something. We both are mentors. We found out through startups getting it, we put it up on blockchain. Now we know it's immutable. Once I put in there, I can't pull it out. After 3 years, I figure out that actually, like he said, was actually a case of fraud or it was case of plagiarism. We can't bring it back because it's on blockchain already. So that is a weakness. That's why when I ask the question, do we focus on technology or do we focus on content? So advertising is an amazing thing you said. That to me is a future where all of us, if we are interested in the industry, should focus on. Because content, honestly, content is plateauing. There's so many OTT platforms and so on. The growth is now at about 3.4% from 5.6%. So deliberate, that is coming down. So where is the money? The money is in advertising, in production, in the app or outside the app. So, and I'm not saying it, it's said by PwC, said by Nielsen, that that industry is growing at a very high rate, 28% possibly by 2045. So you have a thing to look at. So my hope is that we are all looking at you for inspiration. So when you stand up, you have done it. You've gone through the pain and the gains. So what can we do together? Because that's what I think Prashant and the team is trying to ask us. What can we bring to table which allows for one content authenticity? I have a big problem with it. With AI, I have a big because I do every day. I still work 16 hours a day. I churn out. At the moment today I have this I've got through AI completely from 6 engines. So I have content to challenge every part of it because it's available. But how authentic is it? And if blockchain puts it in, then how do I bring it back? I can't. So you have to marry the balance between what AI can do and what blockchain can do. And because you guys are you're the big guys are doing this thing, this can kill your business completely. Once you're in there and it's pulled, nobody will trust you. So it's a very thin line between real and being fake. Right? Then the third I have is potential misuse. If I want to take a blockchain and put thing in there, I can misuse it very easily. If I know it cannot be pulled back. So it's very important for us. And a forum like this, which we are all together as a family, that we bring this out. Let's not bring the fluff part. Unfortunately, I can get anywhere else. We need to get in the crux of. If you sit with me, I'll get you 3 pages of real data with real numbers, real pain points. I can get it. Let's go there. Let's not go with what I can get anywhere on the website today and 6 slides are full of this fraud and it doesn't take us anywhere. We got to go deep inside. That's the only way media industry will survive. Sorry, I'm being blunt, but that is what my.
Well, absolutely fine. So let me put some perspective. When you ask trust in AI and trust in content, uh, both are very different area and both are very different direction and topic, according to me. That's my perspective. When we talk about trust in content and getting a direction as to what type or what should be the path forward in content, what kind of content is being consumed, according to me, every type of content, whether it's a branded content, whether it's a short, whether it's a 2 minute, whether it's a long format, whether it's a TV plus content, which is a new thing now. TV plus content is nothing but digital version of the TV shows, right? Or whether it's a feature film, right, from a 50 minute to 3 hours, right? Every type of content has its own audience. If you see in the larger perspective, uh, with us having more than 100 crore audience in India itself, to make one project successful, you hardly need, I mean, one even a good budget project successful, you hardly need 1 crore audience. But are we even touch basing terms of audience in each content? We are not, right? Because we are not able to reach out to all the audience. Right? Trust in content is very personal choice because it's your innovative creation. And like we had discussed in one of the earlier sessions, that in terms of content creation, the use of AI and the use of the technology is more to aid the processes and not to replace the thought process, which is where people go wrong. Right? So we are talking about content. Yes, it's upon the content creators as to what resonates with them and what conviction they are working upon. When we talk about blockchain, trust in blockchain, we are considering blockchain as a technology which you are utilizing it as a part of the compliance to ensure the trust, ensure the authenticity and the verification of the content that you're producing, right? So both are very different roads, I feel, when we are talking about that.
But the only question is, you talk touch to people which I work with and peer others. If Javed Akhtar sir sends you a letter
Hmm.
saying that you have 50 rupees 60 paisa to be given for your song, the challenge is who measured it. After the government of India, that's why you are able to do it. But if you are not government of India, but association of uh, film goers or title sequer association, the authenticity is not there. Now, if you start getting all of them on blockchain, that will take a few centuries for us. You know, because we all are all very vested interest oriented. especially media and entertainment industry. So we are cutthroat into that. So getting them on a blockchain is going to be the biggest challenge. So advocacy to me is a very big part of it. It is not the technology, the advocacy. If the advocacy is not done enough, and how, what will the challenges of how do you bring them on board? Because all of them are hungry for, one side you are challenged on money, how much revenue and profits can I make? Other side you have compliance. And third, you are looking at, now you're saying let's put it on, cut the intermediaries out. So people are, a lot of people in between are questioning that should I do it, should I not, that is not gone. I mean, I'm saying 2016 I'm following this. It's still I'm questioning how will I get it. That's one of the primary reasons is here. And see, all our stories so far have been based on some sort of tokenization or some, you put a crypto everywhere else. Blockchain is not crypto. Let's not confuse the two. It looked to me that every instance we showed, we talked about mostly how tokenization and how money is in it. If that is not there, blockchain looks very hollow. The way you explain. It's not the case, but the way I heard, look hollow to me. And why would I take there's no money in it? And you're putting compliance, you're putting clamps on me. The question asked, we have to look at. I'm not saying there I'm giving the answer, I'm just
Correct.
putting some points to reflect.
See, the point of adoption is always a debate, right? For example, if we talk about e-commerce market, I'm just putting a very different lame example. If we talk about e-commerce, even social media market, right? Who knew in 2007, 8 that the way digitally the world is connected now and glued to in the digital transformation, that even the most illiterate person would be more savvy on the social media, and he wouldn't know any other thing. But in 10 years, we have seen that change, right? So when it comes to adaptation to the technology, I'm not saying that yes, if there will be a solution, there may be slow adaptation to it. It will take a while, but it can be a rapid change when people see the merit in it, right? But there has to be a start point. See, there are two sides of it. One is being at the shore, we keep thinking कि अंदर जाएंगे तो डूबेंगे, नहीं डूबेंगे, तैर पाएंगे, नहीं तैर पाएंगे. और दूसरा है कि भी अंदर अंदर जाएंगे तभी तो पता चलेगा क्या कर पाएंगे, right? So I feel that's the perspective. There has to be a start point, and any which ways, because with various platforms there are starts, there are initiations that are already done, there are technologies that are already being developed, right? It's not that it's not there. And the moment even any platform starts seeing the merit and the ease, more than the merit, the ease of operations and the ease of the processes, I think the adaptation can accelerate now with the digital age. That's what I feel. Yeah.
One should add first.
Sorry.
Do you think regulation is the answer? Because if you look at, give a panel example on blockchain and Europe. In Europe now what's happening is they are putting what is called carbon tax.
Hmm.
If you take anything into Europe, you have to pay a carbon tax. And that has come from European Union. So when they put it in your Vichy Bejna also carbon tax. So you are complying to something. Now if you don't have that, and you said करो तो करो नहीं करेगा तो ठीक है. That is something that you are leaving a very open box, which adaptation can be very slow. Do you think regulation has a play here? Which Prashant can take that, and say, is there any play?
Actually, I'd like to add to that point. Is regulation important? Regulation is of course extremely important. Certain regulators, geographies, governments will have these come in. As you said, carbon taxes. Let's add one more to that. There's also a look at a water footprint at this point of time, where your end-to-end production is, you're able to track your water utility. And even if your vendors, you have to get it for your vendors as well. So if you're a large scale company, that's something you have to look at. Working with a project right now called Big Water. They're tokenizing water data, right? And it's specifically built for purposes like this. Now, what is regulation important? Regulation is important everywhere. Even in the cryptocurrency world at this point of time, everybody wants regulation because they know that based on regulation is the only way that it's going to make mega leaps forward. The Bitcoin ETF got launched, the ETH ETF got launched this year, some between Jan and Feb. And look at the price of Bitcoin now. Earlier this year, it just spiraled up at 35. Now it's at 97, right? It's aimed to cross 100. So the regulation is welcome, right? At the same time, bodies over here, if you're asking about whether they're monetizing it, from a legal standpoint, there are multiple avenues to consider, right? The first one is let's just take the legal standpoint. Are these bodies recognized to be able to issue your IPR, right? Or to say that, oh no, we had the first claim to it because of it. If you put it on the blockchain, you have exactly a date and time stamp, right? So you're able to authenticate it right then and there. These are just one of numerous instances in which blockchain as a tool assists the industry. And that's effectively where the entire discussion is coming from. Oh, of course. We not just believers. As a matter of fact, we should get enforcers. We should get the government to come on board and say that yes, we want to utilize this as a prime technology, which is happening. Slow as it is happening because larger engines do take longer time. But we are all here to be advocates to the same thing. I'm certain all of us are. All of us, even those that are not in blockchain, are now curious about it. And I think platforms like this, and gentlemen like these, who are looking at it from their industry itself, is a huge mega leap forward. So, yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. I'm so
Happy to do that.
I can already smell coffee being served. It's a great time.
Happy to do that. Yeah.